I am pro-life. I believe personally that the only exception should be to save the life of the mother, and I respectfully disagree with them.
Are they pro-life?
I respectfully disagree with them.
You hear the cat calls from up there.
Calling you a traitor.
I am proudly pro-life, and I've supported pro-life policies. I'm doing this because I think it's the right thing to do.
And welcome back to Square Off. That was Republican House Speaker Ben Toma comparing his position on abortion to Donald Trump and Kari Lake's. He survived a potential challenge to his leadership last week. And Republican Matt Gress was being heckled by pro-life supporters as a traitor after voting with House Democrats in a failed attempt to open debate on repealing the 160-year-old abortion ban. So, what happens next? Our political panel steps in. Christine Jones, an attorney and former Republican candidate for governor, and Stacy Pearson, a Democratic strategist at Lumen Strategies. Welcome back to Square Off.
Good morning. Thanks.
First off, I want to get your take on my interview a few moments ago with Cathi Herrod. Stacy, you have not stopped shaking your head, so let's go to you first.
It's going to be difficult for me to get through this without swearing, if anyone knows me. I don't know what planet she's on. Aunt Lydia does not live in the real world where women who are miscarrying or bleeding currently at 17 weeks pregnant don't know what they're going to do. There is no world in which this doesn't impact care, and it's tragic. Abortion care is miscarriage care. There's no denying that.
Christine?
Well, I will say one thing about Cathi Herrod and the Center for Arizona Policy. They are nothing if not consistent, and she is a fearless advocate for the thing that she holds as a deeply held, probably religious belief. So I would say not too many surprises. I think probably as a practical matter, unlike most of the things that she does at the legislature where she really rules the day with an iron fist, she probably loses this one.
You think she loses this one? Well, let's
do.
go to that. So the repeal, it's still alive in the Senate. Ben Toma said last week he will only bring it to the floor in the House if a majority of his members, Republicans, want to do that. I don't think he could ever do that. The mechanics, procedural issues here, to me, I'm hearing both sides of this.
Yeah,
that he can't block it if it does pass the House.
You probably don't want to get down too in the weeds in the procedural mechanisms here. A majority of Republicans in the Senate is tricky, right? That's a big group to try to...
In the House.
In the House, excuse me, to try to vote the wrong way. But as a practical matter, going to, as I've been calling it, the Yellowstone prequel.
The Yellowstone prequel?
Yeah, the 1883 legislative ban probably is not the best way to proceed. And I obviously have a different view on this from a heartfelt issue than Stacy does, but there are practical considerations here. Nobody who's pro-life, let's clarify, wants for women to suffer, wants for women to struggle, wants for women not to be able to pursue health care. And I think that was exactly what the Republican legislature and the Republican governor did with this 15-week ban several years ago. So I just think eventually, whether it's next week or in a few weeks, they're going to roll.
So is it politics that rules the day, despite Cathi Herrod's apparent willingness to lose the legislature?
Of course. I mean, that is exactly what's happening. Politics are being played on women's health. And I appreciate that pro-life folks don't want women to suffer, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That is not what is happening. We have now a law in place that predates light bulbs by 15 years.
The Yellowstone prequel.
Light bulbs. I mean, these doctors were making decisions on oil lamps. Like, this is insanity. This is absolute insanity.
I do want to underline that point because it seems to me, and I'll say on both sides, the fact that women who are pregnant, complications happen, bad stuff happens.
Yes.
Where an abortion might be necessary.
Yes.
And we are hearing from these women telling us, here's what I went through. I didn't want to have an abortion.
Yes, this is Eva Birch. I mean, this is exactly what she's saying.
And it's far.
And it is true. There are wanted pregnancies that don't stick every single day. And that might be, they may fail at 12 weeks or 15 or 17 or 29. Good. And those women should have a decision made between them, their spouses, and they're doctors, not the government. And that's the part I think we keep losing, is the government is taking autonomy over my uterus. And just that.
Okay. We could talk about this all day. I do want to touch on one last point, though, and that has to do with the prosecution side of this and Katie Hobbs' executive order. Did Democratic Attorney General Chris Mays go too far by declaring she wouldn't prosecute or she would bar prosecutions of a law?
Well, this was just the point I was about to make. I think, regardless of what happens in the legislature, when the enforcer of the law says, I'm not going to take it to the doctors and I'm not going to take it to the women who make these decisions, you already have what you want on your side of the aisle as a practical matter. So I think let's put our swords down on the politics and find out what makes sense for people as they live their lives. Chris Mays and her office are not prosecuting doctors for making a good decision on behalf of a woman.
Did Chris Mays, though, go too far by declaring she would not prosecute and apparently not follow the law?
And
No, she did not.
She did not go too far. And can you imagine a world where it's Abe Hamadeh who thinks that he's actually the AG? Is that we would not be in this position?
All right, got to end it there. When we come back,